Hi, it's Bobby from Bobby's Baking Blog, and I thought it would be fun to show a vintage English garden cupcake tutorial. So we have four different types of cupcakes. This one was made from just a mold and some royal icing leaves. This one was done with doing roses without any cutters, which I have shown you in the whimsical Christmas tree. And these two actually were done, believe it or not, with the exact same cutter. So it was just the way that I blossomed them. And it would be my pleasure to show you this tutorial. Welcome back. It's Bobby from Bobby's Baking Blog. And I'm going to show you how to use this mold that can be bought at New York Cake Design to do the one of the English garden cupcakes. And this is an extremely easy but has an amazing wow factor cupcake. So you're going to need this mold, and the only thing you're going to use is this part right here. If you have a similar mold or something that does just the inside of a rose, that's perfectly fine. And of course you'll need a cupcake that's already covered in fondant. So to do this, you just need to knead up a little bit of 50-50 gum paste and fondant. And I did ombre color the cupcakes, the flowers on them. And here's the one that is ombre. And they were all done with a variation of the wine Dusty Rose in Sugar Flare, which we'll be now carrying in our shop, and are dusted with a little bit of Fairy Pink. Alright, so all you want to do is get a nice sized ball, and you want it to, it's kind of a guessing game here. Depending on how often you use your mold, you might be able to just get it on the first try. But you want one that will fit in there so you don't have to trim too much off. But you don't want it to be so small that it starts to tear. So we're going to make a seamless ball, and we're just going to push it in. And I have already conditioned this with a little bit of Crisco so that it will come out fairly easily. And it looks like I've gone just a tad big. But the neat thing about this mold is that you can kind of pull and tear it away. So we're just going to play with it like we're back in school playing with some clay. Could you start all over with a smaller ball? Of course you can, but I already have this in here. I know it's going to look great, so I'm not going to worry about it. And because you're not going to see the back, and I do want a little bit of height, I don't mind that it's going to have a little bit of a ball in the bottom here. So I'm going to make sure we're in nicely. And then you need about 2 minutes in the freezer. So I will see you in about 2 minutes. So we're back from the freezer, and it actually only took, as you can see, it just popped right out. Easy peasy. So it actually only took about a minute. And we're going to attach our ombre roses. And to make these roses, or the ombre color, I used the Dusty Rose wine from Sugar Flare. I started with my darkest and then lightened from there. I did leave 2 of the flowers without dust so that you could see me doing that. I thought you would be bored if I went ahead and showed you how to do all 3 since they're done exactly the same. So we're going to attach them. I have misted my cupcake. As you can see, it's kind of glistening with just a little bit of water. And then there's this really neat product from CK Products that we carry, and it's a gel that comes in a tube, so you don't have to worry about brushes or cleaning them or anything else. And what you're going to want to do is put a little bit on the back here, and since we're working with pink, pink was perfect. And we're going to overlap our flowers so that they come around in a wheel type position. And it's going to take a few minutes for them to adhere. But by the time you're ready to serve them, they'll definitely be attached to the cupcake pretty nicely. And because they were frozen, I can push on them a little bit harder than I normally would. So that was a pretty easy way to attach it. And the reason that I sprayed the cupcake with water, and I think I've talked about this before, is so that I have the ability, if I needed to move them around. And then all you want to do from there is take a little bit of stiff consistency, moss green colored royal icing, or off peak, not quite stiff consistency. And we're going to pipe a leaf. And I'm going to try and do this so that you can see, but if not, I will turn it. You want to come in at a 90-degree angle, make contact with your cupcake, pressure, release your pressure, and pull up. And the idea of this is you just want to add in leaves where you think there's a little bit of space. We don't want too much space going on in the cupcake. You want some space so that you can get so it doesn't look overwhelmed, excuse me, and it gives you that little wow factor. Did we make contact? We did. So as you can see, I'm getting a little bit low in this piping bag, but I think we'll probably be okay. We're coming back at our 90-degree angle, coming in under the flower and piping up. Release as you come up so that you get that point on your leaf with a little bit of standing to it, so it's not completely flat. I can see under here we've got a nice little shadow space, so I'm going to come in and put my leaves right here. I think 2 looks perfect there, and maybe right here. So again, like I said, you're just going to make sure that your royal icing has contact with your cupcake. Pressure, release your pressure, and just come up once you have the leaf at the fullness that you want. So once your cupcake is baked and covered with fondant or buttercream or however you want to cover it, literally this project with the freezer time will take you 5 minutes per cupcake to do this beautiful little rose garden that people will think you spent hours on. Now I'm going to show you how we dusted them, and that's it for this one. Alright, so we're going to take a little bit of the fairy pink, and you're going to start on the edges and come in. This is not the same way that if you were doing a flower such as a rose or a peony that you would dust, because really we're just adding shimmer. I'm not too concerned if I get it heavier in one area than another. When we dusted our roses that I showed you, the ones that had that looked real, those were done a little bit differently. This you really can just come in and get that shimmer on there. You can take some onto the cupcake so that your cupcake has a little bit of shimmer and matches. And that's it. You're done.